What is going on, everybody, on Facebook and Instagram? Um, we are about to go live here. Well, we are live, but gonna introduce our next candidate. Sorry, just getting set up here. So I'm gonna wait for Rafael to join in. All right, here we go. Hey, what's going on, Rafael? Is that you
Hello.
on Instagram?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Okay. Cool.
Just having a little trouble setting up my phone here.
All right.
Okay, I think we're good.
What's going on, JP? All right. So let me know. Oh, are you Snap? You're not Snap, are you? On
No,
Instagram?
no,
Oh, okay. I said the
no.
wrong
Yeah,
one.
that one wasn't me.
Okay.
Like I'm logged in. Just gotta find out where to go now.
Yeah, you have to go to my Instagram live. Sorry, Snap. I thought that was you. JP, yeah, man. I want to see that. You gotta post those pictures. I know you always post the pictures of your dinner. Yeah, I know. I thought Snap was Raphael. So my apologies, Snap. I didn't mean to send you the. So Raphael, once you see me on Instagram live, just go into that and.
What's your tag?
Eric J Velasquez for TX. What's going on, everyone? And just so everyone know, if you're new here, I'm doing these interviews with candidates almost every day.
Everyone know, if you're new
Sorry.
here,
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
and it's almost every day.
Let me just.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I think we got it now.
Okay,
All right,
cool.
I'm in live.
All right.
We're here.
Which one are you?
I am Flyboss
Oh,
9746.
okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Is that as low as it can go on Instagram?
No, it's low now.
Okay, cool. All right. Sorry, everybody, for the time. I was also late, so that was my fault. So I had to go do some errands, and it went longer than I thought. All right.
There we go.
So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Rafael Vela. I've lived in this district going on 3 years now, and I just think it's time to make changes. Let's just say that.
All right.
A little bit more background, I guess we can get into. Graduated high school from Clark on the north side. Lived there, went to the Navy, did that for 5 years. After that, went out, got my business degree in business administration. And then after that, moved to Kansas for a little bit to, to live with my brother, basically. He got stationed out there. So I was living with him, came back in 2018, and been here since. And now I'm working on another degree in culinary.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I hear an echo still.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, what about now?
Hello?
Hello?
It's better.
Okay.
Yeah, so what made you do that jump from, from obviously business and then culinary to politics? I mean, what's the link? Hello? Hello? Raphael, I can't hear you, man.
So
Oh,
I've
there we go. Yeah, I'm not hearing on the. Oh,
We're still
hello.
good? We're
There
still
we
good?
go. There we
Okay,
go.
we're
Okay,
still good.
cool. All right. Okay, so I didn't hear anything that you said. So
Okay.
definitely.
So I lived in San Antonio for about 24 years. This is my home. I grew up here. Most of my family is here. So along the way, like over the years, I've just noticed like a lot of changes and things that need to be addressed. So from business, yeah, I'm in culinary school, but I don't want that to deter anybody from seeing like the picture that I have for San Antonio. Um, there's just a lot, like I said, of changes that I've seen over the years, and I just want to keep moving San Antonio like in that direction, like just forward. Um, just let us grow, let us prosper together. Uh, so I wanted to run a couple years ago, but Rebecca, she's doing such a great job in this district that I don't think I could have competed against her. So when I found out the chance, like her term was up this year, I was like, I think this would be my chance to make that impact, make that difference that I want to do for the city.
Okay. So I noticed that you said that you think that she's doing a great job. From other candidates, I've heard that she wasn't. So, what do you see that she's doing a good job at? That because I mean, something's wrong there. That some people are saying that she's not, and yeah.
A lot of the so I've gone door to door around neighborhoods, because like I want to show people, like who I am, not just my face on a sign that's around town, you know, with safety, of course. But from what everybody has talked to me about is like she was voted for, her 4 terms for a reason. And most of it, is just like the projects that she works on, like the economic projects, the development of District 3 towards city base, bringing in the colleges, more jobs, more uh, housing developments out there, road improvements, um, just like the things that matter for the people. Um, all like the negativity, I mean, I haven't really heard anything like that. So it's kind of, especially coming from, like when I go like see the neighbors and everything, they always just like, oh, well, she's like done this for us, like that's why I want to vote for her. I voted for her. So I don't know, it's kind of an eye opener in a way.
Definitely. I mean, honestly, when I ran, I mean, there were a lot of things that people were upset about, and a lot of it was infrastructure and sidewalks and roads and everything. So, and even just yesterday, with a neighborhood association that I still keep in touch with, they're still frustrated, and so there's definitely some type of lack of communication, lack of resources to a lot of these neighborhoods. But so what do you envision to see done if you do get elected?
So without giving like exactly where I live over kind of like by Goliad and Fair Avenue. And there's a main road that everybody uses. It's called Clark Avenue, I believe. And it is like one of the most bumpiest, most dangerous. And like they tried putting patches on the road and everything. So like I want to fix that road. I want to. There's a lot of small businesses here in District 3. Yeah, city base is growing, but with those growing businesses, we're forgetting about the smaller businesses. And we're going to take away from all those businesses if we don't help them stay afloat. Especially now during this pandemic. Sure, there's a lot of relief with the stimulus packages that were given previously and that are still in works, but those small businesses, they kind of make like the city uh, grow in a way. We can bring in all these big corporations and everything, but how is that going to help maintain the city if we're just going to give back to those corporations and
Right.
not the ones who are locally owned?
Right. That is something that I've interviewed with some of these other candidates, and I'm like, look, helping out these big corporations is not helping.
Right.
They're not giving back enough to the community. So what would you like to see done? If there is a big company that wants to come to the South Side, let's say Amazon, for example, which is coming,
Hmm.
would you want to see more incentives that they're giving back to the community, and what would you like to see them give?
Well, not only just the jobs, but um, so I see it as like when we had the Final Four here, how much income that came to the city. You know, when we're buying from all these other corporations, we're not actually giving to the city. That goes to all these other retailers and everything else. That's why I took business to understand like all that because it's so interesting to me, how all that works. But I would like them to see like to give back to the city if we're utilizing them. Yes, we're obviously like it has to be like a 50-50 type of relationship. Like I'm giving you the space, you can give to us, the resources and help that we need to maintain a city.
Do you think we're giving these corporations too much of a handout or too much of uh, a break?
I think in a way, everybody we've become to like online shopping. We want the latest and greatest out there. So the chance to have like that big corporation come in, of course, because that's where the people are going to want to go. And that's where I see like sort of like a little problem because like again, they're taking away from the small businesses that are already here. And then they're going to close down and these big corporations are still going to be here. And then we're just going to have empty buildings. And
Mm.
that is going to have a negative look on the city as well with so many empty buildings around. And then it's like, well, people are starting to come to San Antonio, yeah, but they're not going to come to San Antonio for the businesses. They're going to come for the big corporations. They're going to come for the Riverwalk, which, obviously is great. That's where we get a lot of our capital. But I think there's just so much to see here in San Antonio other than, like those big corporations and everything.
Yeah, and the argument was okay. Well, having Amazon here is great, and it might be great, right? But
Right. It'll
there's
give
been
jobs to a lot of people.
right, but there have been a lot of other cities and other states that have had Amazon there at their location, but it's usually in lower income neighborhoods, and the job the job creation that's given to the community isn't always that beneficial because of the fact that there's a high turnaround rate and people are
Hmm.
not getting treated fairly, you're not getting paid properly. So, you know, that's where it's like, how do we balance that? You know what I mean?
It comes it starts with the job because, I mean, the city can't, regulate how, I guess, the employees are in there. It comes from within the job and their standards and their morals. I've heard a lot about that also. Like Amazon makes you stand for so many times, and like you can't use the bathroom, all this and that. And it is kind of terrible. So like to bring in a company like that, if that's all that's true, then why is that a company that we want to have here when we could have, you know, a volunteer, center or something that will be more beneficial to the city in a way than an Amazon treating their employees bad.
Right. Yeah. And so would you like to maybe establish that type of communication with Amazon and maybe, you know, try to see if they can give back more to the community, especially once they settle down in District 3?
I would, if they ultimately came down in here to District 3, then yes, there would have to be some sort of like liaison and then some sort of like ground that everybody follows. So we have a better understanding like, okay, well, you're going to help us, we're going to help you. But at the same time, you're still going to treat your employees the way they need to be treated, you know. But it's just so much more
Yeah.
in a
Yeah. I
way.
know it's not something you can regulate
Yeah.
or whatever, but I'm just saying that,
Yes, I would.
try to get that conversation going is, hey, let's talk about some incentives because, we're talking about District 2 and how Coca-Cola has participated with the MLK March, and they're like, why do you guys just give Cokes? And they're like, well, that's all anybody has asked us for. So they never asked us for money. So I mean, being willing to go and ask those corporations to say, if they're already here, then ask this corporation, hey, can you give free Wi-Fi to our kids, in a center or whatever it is? I mean,
Right.
because they're always looking to donate, especially those corporations. But
Like even Capital One has those new cafes now where you can go in, get coffee, use the Wi-Fi, bank. It's like it's like a Starbucks but with banking.
right,
So if Capital One can do it, I think Planet Fitness as well. I saw sponsored an event, and I mean they're nationwide as well. So like Planet Fitness is in, and that's a gym. Of
right.
course, health and everything these days is pretty important. So I don't see why a big corporation like that couldn't give back to a city that they're in.
Yeah, and I think it's just talking to them, just talking and just saying, hey, look, these are our needs. Will you be willing to help us out?
Right.
Not looking for handouts, but
No,
I
no,
mean,
of course not.
just asking, and because they're always willing to. And JP, since you have been putting food on the comment, that leads me to my next question. What are 3 of your favorite small business restaurants in District 3?
Ooh, good question. La Putanda is a really good one. I love going to their
Plug.
restaurant. If nobody knows where that one is, it's off of Goliad, but you have to go around because they're doing construction on Goliad right now. Not Goliad. Yeah, it is Goliad. I think it is. Wow, I don't even know. Wow.
If anybody knows, put it on the comments.
Yeah, I think I have my streets wrong, man.
It's all right.
I also like. I don't know if it's the locally owned, but I just knew Hometown Burger. That's not locally owned, is it?
I don't know. I saw one over like 2-1 and like Bitters. And JP says Gevers and North Fair. There you
Yes, there you go. There's North Fair.
go.
See, there's like all these lights and intersections right there that the streets get confusing at a point, even though I drive through there most of the time. So, and I'd have to say,
Hometown burger gross. Is a hometown burger gross?
No.
Is it gross?
I don't think so. I've ate there twice, and I haven't had a problem with it.
I went to Hat Creek Burger and I did not like it. I was
No?
like, ugh, no. It was no. Sorry, Hat Creek, but I just no. It was not good.
And so this one might seem, I guess, a little bit far-fetched because they do have a location that's not in Texas or San Antonio, I should say, but Bakery Lorraine. Their main location's at the Pearl, and then they have one at La Cantera at the Rim.
Well, let's do District 3.
Okay, District 3. District 3, okay. Well, a lot of small ones are.
No pressure. No pressure.
No, not at all. It's Taco Haven. It's right there off of Steve's Avenue and Walters.
Oh, Taco Haven?
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah?
Yeah, it is. I think it is. Yeah, it is Taco Haven.
Yeah, they have some really good.
It's like an orange
tacos.
building. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Andrea said, enjoyed, off to work. Have a great day, gentlemen, I'm assuming. Best of luck, Mr. Vela.
Thank you. Have a good day at work. Don't work too hard.
All right, so next question. What would be the first item of business you would like to accomplish once elected into office?
A big one is one that's not just in District 3, but I see over the years more and more is the homeless population. There is an ever-growing homeless population coming to District 3, and I don't want it to be that one that blames the city or everybody else, but I'm going to blame the city and everybody else because I feel like they're being pushed this way in a sense to make everything else look great, and then now we're going to have like that negative effect, because I've been hearing a lot, well, what can we do about these homeless people that are around? And I mean, there's always a suggestion, there's always, an idea, but I feel like it just stays at that, just an idea. We have Haven for Hope, and I've been to that facility before, and I think it's great. But a lot of the homeless people don't want to go there because they have rules, and of course, they
I,
don't want to follow rules.
yeah, but I do hear a lot that are from there that, or not from there, but that go there and have been there, that it's hell. Like it's hell. They call it haven for hell or something like that, something crazy. But they said it's terrible. So I mean, what other things? I mean, obviously we have we have connection issues. Can you?
I'm still good.
That's okay. Yeah, I hear you pretty good. So I mean, this is obviously a big issue right now, especially because they were doing all these camp sweeps recently, just this week, and they're continuing to do them. So obviously, if we haven't figured out the connection and why, I mean, I don't expect you to, but is there something that you would like to see, being done?
I've seen in other cities how they have like those small house communities,
Mhm.
and they'll give to like the homeless people, and like if they work. So I was driving around the other day with a friend, and we were talking, about this as well. And I was like, well, why don't we set aside a small patch of land, you know, get those like those shed houses that you can get like at Home Depot or something like that, and make it like a little small community, but at the same time, they could work for the city, picking up trash around the city. There's litter everywhere, so why not utilize that as a job force, And now we have a place for them to go to, so they're not walking the streets, they're not sleeping on benches, um, and at the same time, like, we have the help to beautify the city.
Right. And here is an issue that actually I spoke with somebody who actually did do some. Well, they tried to do it. They bought a piece of land, right?
Hmm.
It was over a medical center. They bought a piece
Okay.
of land, and it's the owners of Comfort Cafe. I don't know if you ever heard of Comfort Cafe, where they don't have prices. You just pay whatever you feel like you think you could pay for. Um, but basically, they bought this piece of land, and they were going to have basically a community for homeless and trying to get them in the right step. But everybody around there was like, no, because we don't want that in our neighborhood. So
It's
we
the
are going to,
demog
yeah, we are going to, you're going to run into that whole issue
you
because
are
people don't want that
um,
around.
just with like opening a new business, it's all about the demographic.
Mhm.
I don't want to cause or like say shade about the medical center or anything, but given the way it looks, I guess would be a way of putting it. Of course, they don't want uh, the homeless people to have to be a damper on the way that the medical center looks, because they have a look and they want to maintain that look.
Right.
I think that's why they're gravitating towards like the South Side, District 3, District 4, uh, because in a way we've kind of neglected the South Side. Um, we're beautifying everywhere else, but like I said, we're forgetting about what's already here and what we can already improve. So I would open something here in District 3. I mean, why not? You can make it like just as beautiful as the medical center. I mean, but I guess I can see, yeah, there's a lot more with that, because the homeless people and all the territory that it comes with, of
Mhm.
course, you don't know exactly where you're getting into with helping out somebody
Right.
who's been living on the streets for so long. If they're going to want to follow a new set of rules, that's why they're living freely wherever they choose to. So, yes, there are some obstacles, but I think I could be able to make that change. give them like their freedom, of course, but work, you're
Mhm.
giving a free home. All you have to do is just go pick up trash on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And like you can still live freely. So that's just my little thought on that.
Yeah,
I guess
so I mean, what are your takes on what's going on right now? With them doing the sweeps and you know, taking children away because I saw that they took a child away from this young girl because they were living in underneath the
poverty.
bridge. Yeah. Do you think the city is? I mean, they're just trying to do something or trying to appease, or do you think that they should just not do that? Or
I think the city should step in if they're truly being like neglected. If I know it's hard for, people to live on the streets. I understand that. And I know they can't afford to, give proper care, food and everything, but I don't think it's fair that the city should take away someone else's kid without due cause. If they're, why can't we just give them the medical, help them out with food? Um, Go to the food bank. They can get food there. There's free clinics around town. So why not?
well, here's the thing with that is something that I experienced last year when I was campaigning. Is we were doing these food drives, right?
Mhm.
And we were trying to reach out to the smaller parts of the community that obviously either could not go, especially all the way to the food bank, right? Um, but what happened was that they shut us down. That the only way you could get food is by specifically being a nonprofit. If you weren't a nonprofit, then you couldn't get food to go distribute. And so now that made it even harder for people like us and other people that just wanted to give out to hand out food that weren't a nonprofit. And now you had to go to jump more hoops. You know what I mean? Only because it
Right.
had to be centralized to the food bank. So you know that was an issue, and it's still an issue.
It still is. I I heard that the food bank, like their shelves were almost cleared out when the pandemic started, and they were doing a lot of food drives last year. Um, I remember seeing those, and it still is tough times, but I think we've gotten better, you know, in this pandemic, even though, there's still a lot of rising cases and everything. But I don't think you should just have to be a nonprofit. If you're distributing food for a good cause, like you're giving back to the homeless people, then I think we should be able to give them the food to do that. You shouldn't just have to be a nonprofit, because now we're limiting ourselves. That So Josie Garcia said, and handing out food and water to the homeless is a ticketable offense. And
Is handing out coats? Because I've done that too. Me and my wife, we went to go do that one time. We were handing out coats to people. Is that ticketable? I hope not. But it shouldn't be. But I mean, if food and water is, I would assume handing out coats to people would be.
see, and now this comment also leads to, I guess, rolling down the same hill. Is Why is it a ticketable offense? You're trying to help out somebody who needs help. That's like me helping out someone who needs help, who doesn't have the money to afford anything, like, but they're not homeless. So in a way, we're having double standards on that now,
Hmm.
because one is homeless and one's not, but I'm still helping them out. So you see, there's just so much circles that you go through to try to help somebody, and then there's so many barriers that you have to get through that are preventing you from helping somebody. But now we're limiting ourselves from helping people because of what exactly?
I mean, you could sell water at Fiesta with a rolling cart. I'm sure you don't have to pay any permit or anything, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but
No,
I
I know.
see
I know what
you
you're
see
getting
people
at.
doing that. They're just
Right.
passing out selling waters or whatever off the side of the street or whatever. I mean,
I see
but
that happen a lot, especially over by like South Park Mall. There's some of the candy apples and cotton candy. Mind you, I've bought some. Um,
and
uh,
it should be legal. It
but
should be
it's
legal to
sort of like
but
right. I guess like obtaining the proper permits and everything is why we have those in effect. Um, it's just I don't know. I just want to see them be okay. I just want everybody to be okay.
yeah, yeah, and I think we lose sight of that, and uh, but we also don't address the issue of why this is happening, and you know there are a lot of band-aids being put out as far as like clearing out homeless camps or whatever it is. We're just putting band-aids on these issues and not fixing the root cause, and that could either be education, that could be funding for to help prevent homelessness, or yes, there are a few people that I know that they just don't do whatever it is to keep them from not losing their apartment or whatever it is, because
Right.
I mean, there are some people that they just, I don't know,
There are some
they
who
don't
just want
put.
to be homeless.
Well, I mean, I don't. Yeah, there. I think there might be a very few amount, maybe, because they want, I mean, but those are probably like the people that like off the grid type of thing.
Right.
But I don't think living in the city and being houseless would be something that you would want to do. I don't know. I just I don't know. Baby Blossom said, "I know I'm in a different state, but I know that our city in Kansas has displays set up where people in the town donate free hygiene products, and those in need to come and grab whenever they need." Yes, and we actually do have here some pantries, community fridges, or
Right.
community pantries, and you can go to my page, and I posted a few of them. There's community fridge. There is free little pantry. There's a couple of pantries that are in the city in different spots that that have food, anything that whatever they might have. Um, Periods SATX does feminine products,
Yep.
and Periods United, and there's some other organization. I think Girls Incorporated, also San Antonio, Texas, does that. So yeah, we definitely. I think maybe we need more of those mutual aid type of things. There's no reason why mutual aid should not
Be
be a
a
thing. You
thing.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, like, but I mean, like, as in, I'm trying to say, like, there's no reason why there shouldn't be a need for that, right? But there is a need for that, and there shouldn't be something that we cannot have mutual aid. Like, nobody should say, "Oh, you can't have mutual aid." Like, you should be able to have mutual aid. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody is hurting anything with that. You know what I mean?
Right. I know what you're
Um,
getting at.
but okay, so Josie said, "What is your stance on police accountability and the repeals of laws 143, 174 of the collective bargaining agreement?"
So the actual bargaining itself, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really looked much into. Uh, and the police accountability. So I think SAPD sent out all those forms. If that's the one that we're talking about, then I've read through that. And those small little papers that I got in the mail, I think everybody got in the mail. Uh, Police officers should be held accountable. This may so it's funny because like my brother-in-law and my sister, they work in law enforcement, and my sister, she's big on law enforcement and do justice. So I hope I'm not making her angry if she's watching this. But at the same time, I feel like police should be held accountable if they're in the wrong. There's always that thin blue line between doing what's right and doing what's wrong. Um, and I say that because I was also a former Bear County Sheriff's deputy, so I know I don't say the ins and out, but I have like some of like that insight of how easy it could have been to have crossed that line, which thankfully I never did. But I think that's why we take them off, patrol if their sidearm has been discharged, if they've been in any major, situation. So they have that time to find out the truth that happened. Um, can the police force be biased towards their own? I think so, because it's a brotherhood. It's a camaraderie that everyone has each other's back. But at the same time, like, if that's what's really going on, then that shouldn't happen. But I think Chief McManus and Sheriff Salazar have both said, like, if one of my officers or deputy has done anything wrong, then I have no problem, putting them where they belong.
Mhm.
So, and that's coming from both of the top officials in San Antonio and the county. So,
But
I
I
agree
think
with that.
the fact that some of those some of those laws that are in those chapters, I mean, they are helping these police officers stay employed, still get paid, and then even get let back in, even if they did commit this something that was not right,
Right.
but people are saying, well, Chief McManus is wrong, and this, so there's that argument, right? So it's like, who's right? And Josie, if you want to come in and ask some questions, please feel free. I could put the link in here, and you're more than welcome to come in. I'd rather have that engagement and dialogue, um, than me or us kind of um, assuming like exactly what you said. So I'm going to put the link in the chat box so you can come in, if you want. If not, it's fine. But I'm going to post it on here on the um, Facebook, YouTube, and in there. I'm going to post it on there. So if you want to come in, feel free to come in. Um, Yeah, so Josie said the problem with these laws, the chief cannot fire an officer that demonstrates criminal behavior. Arbitrators can trump the chief's call. And here's the thing too, is I think where the biggest problem is that there's all these lines in those chapters that kind of summarizes bulk of like 143 and 174. So, I mean, I kind of want to know, like, why can't we not just edit some of these lines out instead of repealing the whole thing? And I know, Josie, you've been kind of in the forefront, so I would love to hear your side of it. If you would like to come in, I would really appreciate, and it would also help all of us watching.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
but um but anyway, so if not, it's fine. Hold on. No, it's fine. You can come in. It's fine. If you want to just do audio, you can just do audio. If you want to just it's fine. I mean, are you okay, Rafael, with her coming
Yeah,
in?
definitely.
Okay, so I mean, you got all the time. It's
We do.
fine. Instagram. Sorry, you can't really. You wouldn't be able to hear this part if she does come in, but hopefully she does anyway. I'm hoping you do come in. Um, but yeah, so I mean, there's that aspect of not being able to just repeal some of the lines in those items. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, I think that would make some people a little bit happier with that whole instance instead of repealing the whole thing. But I don't know. So
Uh,
I'm assuming you're not for defunding, which I don't think defunding. A lot of people
defunding
are.
what defunding is would just take away from what the police can actually achieve. Defunding the police would not help with these laws of the collective bargaining agreement, because that solely has to do with the force itself as not an entity, but like what actually goes on. So like the funding that we give to the police departments goes to like training, equipment, and stuff like that. So it has nothing to. It doesn't really affect how their staff is. I'm trying to put this in another way, but it's not really coming out how I want it to say. How I want to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we should defund the police because we need them. Uh, they're first line of defense. They risk a lot, and I'm not saying let's just fund them because you know they do risk all that, but at the same time they do risk their lives a lot going out to calls. You don't know what calls they're going out to. Something
Right.
as minor as a traffic stop can be uh, the last place that they were before we attend their funeral. You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
never know.
And I think it's hard. It's hard to be in that environment. But I also think too is police are trained to profile.
Right.
I mean, they just are. And is it right? I don't know. I mean, I know when I was in the military and in Iraq, I had to profile
Hmm.
certain people. I had to look and see what they're doing and what their hand motions. And so, I mean, but I also have a lot of people that were in the military come into SAPD. So do you think maybe that could be an issue? Because military and police department are, they're two different animals.
They
And
are, but I think a lot of those veterans who come into a police force, the EMS, anything that has to do like first responder, have a better understanding of a situation versus somebody who comes in and um without, I guess, a little background in it. Uh, it definitely helps you more, like I said, because like you understand the job, you know what you're getting into per se. Uh, so like when I went through the academy and everything, yeah, I already had gone through the Navy. Um, you know, I served in OEF. I did that. So when I
where'd you go?
joined, we pretty much patrolled like the Saudi Arabian coast,
Oh, okay, okay. I just wanted to
catching
know. Maybe we
pirates.
were there at the same time.
Could have been.
Yeah, right.
If you saw a giant carrier come through, sure. So I already had, like the mindset of, okay, it's of what it was gonna be. And yes, I just worked in the jail, but that's where a lot of, bad things can happen too. You don't know when these inmates are gonna turn on you. Just like you don't know when an everyday person's gonna turn on you.
Now, with that, I mean, do you see a need for some criminal justice reform? Do you think that there's something that needs to be done with our criminal justice system in Bexar County Jail that maybe we're not doing enough to help these prisoners get reformed?
Um, there when I was there was a lot of programs. So like they have access to the law library. They have access to go to church. They have access to. They can even take online courses, for college. So I think there's a lot of programs inside the jail. It's really just up to that person if they want to reform, because you can make just like anybody out here who's not in jail can make their day, the best that it can be, or make it as miserable as they can be. It's the same thing with someone in jail. It's like, do they want, when they get out, do they want to be that person, who has changed and, just from being in jail, or are they still going to go back to their old ways? You just never know how someone's going to be. So when it comes to like the actual laws and everything, I think what's implemented right now is is good. Like I said, there's a lot of programs for them. Can the food be better? Probably. Is hospital food good? Probably not. So
Well, I think too is, I mean, a lot of them need direction though. I mean, they didn't have direction in their lives, and I know like one for sure, like my son's birth mom. She was in jail, and they gave her a choice. Do you want to stay for this program or do you want to get out early? I mean, I'm like, come on, like,
You're
of
everyone
course
wants to
you're
choose to
gonna,
get out early, of
right?
course.
You know, I mean, so it's stuff like that that it there needs to be direction because there's a reason why they're there. You know what I mean? They either could have not had direction in their lives, or they could have been put in there for just some charge that was, you know, I mean, bogus, like marijuana possession or something like that. um, so, but anyway, so with that question, are you for or against marijuana legalization here in San Antonio?
Let's legalize it.
Oh,
It's happening anyways. People are smoking anyways. It's not like because it's illegal, people are not smoking. Why not just legalize it? Um, and then it saves, obviously, to an extent. I mean, I'm not saying let's get, like brick loads to everybody, but sure, like, um, it's Colorado seems to be doing just fine with it being legalized. And that's, I'm sure everyone goes to, either there or California. But there's a whole, now that's a whole nother business step and aspect that could be brought to San Antonio, to the state, you know? But I like to argue both sides myself. Okay, so like I'm all for it, sure, but at the same time, like yes, I see the negative impact it could have too. It's um, driving high and driving drunk. Sure, they're two different things, but yeah, your state of mind's now altered. So should you really be driving? No. Should there be penalties if you're driving under influence? Sure. So there's always
but
ways
I
to.
think the fact that that would keep a lot of people, especially people of color, out of jail. Um,
Definitely, because those are most of the charges that they
right.
get, brought up against.
Yeah. And Maria, she says, "Hi, how are you guys? What are you guys talking about?" We're talking to Rafael. He's a District 3 candidate for San Antonio for City Council, and we're just kind of just doing some questions and things like that. And then he said, "My ex was in jail. He got out on probation, but he never changed." Well,
So it comes
yeah,
down it comes down to the person themselves, like if they want
yeah,
that change. I don't want to say like this is the same thing because it's just a TV show, but because I'm not really sure how like laws work over there. But for anybody who's watched this TV show, it's called Wentworth, and it's based in Australia. Uh, So they actually, like when people are getting ready for release, and it's like I said, it's just a TV show. I'm not sure if that's how it actually worked. They give them like job referrals. They give them like a place to stay at a halfway home. Pretty much is what it is if they need it. And if we're talking about reform and like helping them in the jail system, I think is that something that we could do for them. Like okay, sure you're in jail, but we have this employer who's willing to interview you at
right,
least. So that
yeah,
way we're helping them, we're giving them that direction, but it's going to fall on them if that's ultimately, something that they fall through with. Because I know a lot of people on the inside, they don't have help when they get out.
no,
And that's where a lot of our homelessness people come from because like they don't have anywhere to go, they don't have like the help that they need. So it's like if we can set them up with a job interview at least, give them a place to stay at a halfway house, some like sort of shelter, then we're already having that impact on them. And then they look and see, it's like, all right, well, man, I thought I hated jail, but look at actually what they did for me. Maybe
yeah.
it is time for me to change. So
Well,
we're giving.
and two, I mean, maybe have some incentives for some small businesses to be able to, maybe. I mean, I maybe have some small businesses have some incentives to hire, you know, people that have just been released or were released. I mean, that maybe have a record and do it that way.
Right. I'm not saying like, yeah, put him like as your host, but sure,
No,
like a starting position, there's
right.
plenty of dishwasher positions out there, and I'm not saying like that's the only thing that they're good for, but I mean, a job's a job, you know. So
Again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. And Maria, I'm sorry that he was abusive. There are a lot of organizations here in San Antonio that we have. I think the DV Commission, Domestic Violence Commission. They do awesome work with domestic violence. There's a few of them that do um, you know a lot of there's also Judge Monique Diaz. She's also really awesome. She does a lot of forefront with the domestic violence cases and things like that. But yeah, if you ever feel the need that you need to reach out, please reach out to those organizations or whoever it is to kind of get yourself out of those situations. Um, what do you think you can improve on from the current elected official, as in uh, you know something good, something positive that you've seen that you can kind of move on from that, or maybe improve that.
so with I'm gonna go back to something we talked about earlier is the development of city base. So I was having a chat with my stepdad's friend. They go to the same church, and we were talking about all those standalone buildings and like all the empty buildings that are here and everything, the new ones that are coming. So I think the development city base is going in the right direction. Minus like the corporations that are coming in that we talked about, but. Uh, in those buildings that are up and coming, why not have what's called an open space? So it's a space that's set aside that's dedicated to allowing the general public to come in um, and just be there. I guess it goes back into what we talked about with Amazon as well and like giving back to the community. So my biggest thing is like I want to give back to this district. So I guess this ties into all that is having that open space concept, and then what Maria was talking about with her abusive ex and everything is, like there are safe spaces I believe throughout San Antonio that you can go to, and you'll get the help you need to receive for domestic violence and all that, which is great. Love that idea. Love it that we have that to help and in a way like it would be something like that but more of just letting the general in, just if you want to hang in our building, sure, let's do it. So I guess that would be the solution. I should have brought that up earlier then because that would have made more sense then instead of
Right.
instead of bringing it up now like 40
Yeah.
minutes later.
Yeah,
um,
no, you're fine. You're fine. It all works.
some
And
thoughts.
for anybody who knows, I think the QT gas stations,
Isn't
they have those, they have an actual, like, I don't know if you want to call it like a
safe
panic
zone.
room or state.
I call it a safe zone. I thought it was called a safe zone.
It might be, yeah. So if there is something that if you are experiencing something, you can go. I know it's kind of weird
Going
to
to a
have it
gas
at
station.
yeah, but I mean,
That's like the least spot you'd expect.
right. But
I
it's
guess
there.
right.
It's there, and then they would lock it, and only police would be able to come in and help. But I mean, there's so many things like that. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off topic. But De Jesus said, "Got to get back to work." Great answers, Mr. Vela, and best of luck.
Thank you. Have a good day at work.
Um, and again, if you guys want to ask questions, there's a link over here on the comments in Facebook. If you want to click on it and jump in and ask, you're more than welcome to. Please don't be profane or crazy. So just keep it, keep it rated G if you can. I mean, that's possible. But yeah. So, what are some of the things that you would like to plan? What are some of the things you would like to do to bridge the gap between city council and the community?
Good question. Um, what do you mean by like bridge the gap between.
Like the trust in the city council
I
or
see, like
the
doing what you say you're going to do and not doing it. Is
well
that what you
that too.
mean?
Yeah, I mean that's that's yeah. But I
uh,
mean, in a sense of like how can you establish that trust? Obviously, yes, you can you know start doing these things, but what would you like to see done? Would you like to go and meet everybody? Would you know?
I think that's why I go around meet at least meeting whoever comes to the door. The times I go around the neighborhood are normally like during everybody's lunch or something. So I should
Yeah,
probably like change my times when I go around. But yeah, that's why I go face to face, mask on, uh, social distancing, to talk to everybody. So if they don't have like access to like the internet or something like this, they don't know how to work a smartphone, um, and can hear like these interviews online, that they can hear it from me in person. So I think that's a step already, and I hope it's something that everyone's seen is like, all right, well, he had the, I don't want to say courage, but in a way, I guess, like the courage to come meet me in person instead of just doing an online interview, just doing it a speaking forum,
hmm
just putting signs around the city, or the
yes,
district, I should say.
yeah,
Because like
yeah.
I get that that's an effective way to campaign, but I think it's even more effective when you can talk to somebody on a more personal level.
Right.
Um,
Well, and with that, are you? Would you like to see campaign contribution limits, as in a cap on your total campaign? And I say that as in, to try to minimize, to try to basically equal everyone's playing field, because you have a lot of people that take out loans and take out, get all these donations from some PACs, some corporation, well, not corporation, but some PACs,
right.
and things like that. That you know, it is unfair, to have all this signage and you're littering the district. You're
Hmm.
you know, and where it should be to where you're like trying to do stuff like this or face to face and everything.
I think so. So I'll use myself as an example. Everything that I put out there, so like I make my own flyers, um, and posters, with Office Depot. They're actually pretty awesome. But uh, I'm no way like sponsored by them. I don't get donations from them. Everything that I've made is from my own money,
Mhm.
that I have set aside or something. When I first knew that I wanted to run. But I think there should be a limit on how much you spend to campaign, because, like you said, it is unfair to everybody. And I think it might benefit more than others by having a last name as somebody. But yeah, like it's it's not fair, because you spend all this money, and then what if you don't get elected? Now you're going to be in debt, um, and trying to figure out how you're going to pay all this back because you didn't get elected. So yeah, I think face to face is more effective campaign, than throwing out these big banners everywhere. How about you take the time that you made those banners to go put up, that you take the time to go to those businesses that you're trying to put that sign in, and talk to the people inside that business.
Mhm.
Um, Talk to the neighborhood. You can still have these public speaking forums, at a church, a hall, the park, somewhere within the district that everybody can come to. You
Right.
know, I feel like if you can't make time to talk to somebody face to face in the neighborhood, then you're already setting that example that you're not going to be there for the people. Um,
Right. Well, and that was the thing that I've been telling people is, let's change the way we do politics, right? Let's change the way we say, well, that's just how politics work. Why? Why does it have to be like that? We've changed so many things by the norm. Let's change them to a different way we
let's
do
be fair
business.
across the playing field.
Yeah.
And yes, I think we should limit uh, how much we spend on campaigning.
Cool. And with that, there's one question I know nobody's asking because it's still new, but would you be willing to look at ranked choice voting? And for anybody watching, ranked choice voting basically is, let's take, for example, you have four candidates, you rank them in order however you want. And basically, that top candidate still has to reach the 50 plus one or 50.1% in order to win. And what would happen is whoever's in last, if that top candidate that is in the lead does not have that amount, then the last person gets removed, and then all those other votes get tallied up for those other candidates, and then so on and so forth until there is a clear winner. And what that does, it promotes people to be able to vote how they want to vote and not pressure into voting for a specific party or a candidate because they think they're going to quote unquote win. Um, it's called the spoiler effect. You would remove that spoiler effect. And then also, um, it would eliminate the need for a runoff election, which costs so much money. Just to hold the elections, they're 8 million and up just to hold those elections. Um, it would remove that because it would be an instant runoff, and then also it would cause a little bit more of a stable political environment, unlike what we've seen recently, where everybody's just you have to pick a side, and it's volatile. Ranked choice voting would start changing the way we do business in politics because it would start people to act more harmonious, so to say, if you want to
Hmm.
say it that way. But also, candidates would be willing to try to get another person's number two spot, if that makes any sense. So, would you be willing to look at that? Obviously, I know you can't pass anything, but
Right.
would you be for that?
Um. So listening to that, yes, it sounds good, but I think the only objection I would have is okay. So we have everybody ranked, right? I'm just going to use me again because um, let's say I'm ranked number 3, for instance. Okay,
Well, you're not ranked. You're not ranked though. The people would rank you.
right.
Mhm.
Let's say the people rank me as number 3.
Okay.
Okay, and the number 1 choice hasn't met that threshold.
Mhm.
In a way, I find that the people who've already voted for somebody. So if we take those bottom 2 candidates off and all those votes that they had go over to 1 and 2 to find the winner, I feel like we're taking the votes that people voted for and giving them to somebody else they didn't vote for.
No, they did. They did though, because they voted for the 2, 3, and 4 positions. So they've already picked them, but they didn't pick them first or second. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Okay.
it works
Okay.
out, and then actually here I'm gonna play this quick video. That's okay with you?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Um, oh, sorry, hold on. Oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. Da-da-da. All right. This is a much better way to explain it because
Okay.
that's what we have now. So you're orange, Rafael. You're orange.
Okay. I'm following.
That looks like red to me, but
Right.
well, not that you're red. Not you know what I mean. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So I mean, it'll work. It works itself out. You know what I mean? It works
Right.
itself out to where the votes get counted to wherever they voted for. So I mean, it's just different. You know what I mean? I know that's the thing here in San Antonio is different, but I mean, we switched over to electronic voting. You know, we switched over to all these different types of voting. So I mean, it's possible.
It is.
So I
Yes.
mean, just trying to get that in there to see
I wouldn't
to have you
be
think about it.
I wouldn't be obliged to it if that makes sense.
Okay.
Uh, it's just phasing in that change. Like, of course, there's always going to be a cost with everything. So, you know,
It's better than spending $10 million on
right.
runoff elections.
If
That only about uh, maybe 5 or 6% of the people vote in anyway.
right.
You know what I
So
mean?
yes, if
So
we can cut that out, then definitely, because it's going to save in the long run. I think
right,
it's one of those like investment type of things.
right, yeah, and I
You
think it
pay the
actually went
big
up to like
price for. Sorry, go ahead.
right, yeah, and I heard that it's actually jumped up to like 10 or 11 million now for just the runoff election. So that's just ridiculous.
If it's something that we don't need to do, we don't need to do it. Let's cut it
Right.
out,
Yeah.
and let's implement a new change. Let's do it.
Definitely. So just planting that seed for everybody, just to say, look, just start thinking about it. You know what I mean? You just think about it. All right. So I don't want to keep you too much, but if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to ask before we finish. I just want to ask, what does community mean to you?
Community, like the TV show on Hulu? No, I'm just kidding. I think that's like a good picture. It's like finding the different people coming together to work together to make a change in a place that they live. So that's what I feel. That's what I get from the word community. Diversity is great. That's what I love about everybody being so different, having different thoughts and different ways of doing things that we learn from one another, and we can put all that together and change the way we do things.
Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know we had it scheduled for yesterday, so
My
luckily
fault.
we
I'm
were.
sorry.
No, you're good. And thank you for letting me be late because I was like, I was not gonna get home on time.
It was the least I could do for yesterday. Okay.
But thank you for coming on. And anybody
Thank you.
watching, again, we're having interviews almost every day. So please tune in, get to know these people, get to know who the candidates are going to be running that are going to be on your ballot. Don't wait till the end.
No,
But
don't.
I know these are long, but this is the only way we can really get a sense for who the candidates are. You know what I mean? Because you
Right.
can go to the forums, that's cool, but the forums don't get the true
Personal.
sense, personal. So that's why I like these interviews where they're a little bit more personal. We get to laugh a little bit, or whatever it is, and we just have a good time. But thank you. And if anybody watching, how can people get a hold of you and donate, volunteer, whatever it is?
I am on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, you just search for me, Rafael Vela. Instagram, Flyboss9746. I know I made that when I was in the Navy. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me at. I haven't asked anybody for donations or anything. Everything that I do for my campaign is coming directly from me to give back to you. So if you see me walking around the neighborhood and I look like a salesman, it's just me. Don't be afraid to answer your door. I'm not selling anything, okay? But thank you for this, for your time. I really appreciate you having me on here. And well, let's see what we can do.
Right, definitely. And if anybody is a candidate out there that I have not reached out to yet, or I have reached out and you're like, oh, I forgot to set up my interview, please message me
Get
already.
back to him. Get back to him.
Yeah, because I am reaching out to everyone, and so if you don't want to, that's up to you. That's fine. But I always think that you should always be willing to talk to whoever it is, especially if you're running for office. Just because I'm not with, a news agency shouldn't mean that you shouldn't just, whatever. You know what I mean?
I mean, I was so nervous coming on here, but
No,
I think
you're
I did
good.
okay.
But this is just part of education for the community and just to get an idea of who everyone is. So,
Right.
I'm looking for a co-host. So if anybody wants to co-host and kind of do some fun stuff, let me know. I'm thinking about that. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to have somebody on here. But
Definitely.
District 3, I believe we were going to do a forum with Get Texas. So is that something you would be willing to do?
Yep.
Okay.
I
I don't know the details yet. We were talking about the first week of March, but I'm not sure yet. But I'll let you know. All
Definitely.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. If you want to hang back for a second, once we're finished, just so we can wrap up. But thank you, everybody on Instagram for the question.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and just appreciate it. Go follow his page. Ask him some questions if you want to privately. It's up to you.
Definitely.
Just keep learning about who these people are and start learning about what all these positions do. It's very important because it affects you personally in your lives. So thank you, everyone.